Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Artcasters number 216. And we've got a special guest with us tonight, as always. And this is somebody I've been wanting to talk to for a little bit. I've only recently found out about him, but ever since I did, I'm like, I got to talk to this guy. So he was gracious enough to come on. And I'm looking forward to talking to BeeJayDeL in just a minute. But first, we kind of go through, the usual. So if you're not familiar, if you just happen to stumble onto this, or maybe you're, a fan of BeeJay and he sent you over here, this is the Artcasters. It is a show where we talk about art and the business of art and all that kind of stuff. And we do that once a week, usually on my channel. And then it kind of switches over to my co-host Josh, who is, as you can see, he's not here. It's Corey who's filling in for Josh. We'll get to Corey in a minute. Yeah, so that's kind of the format of the show, and we just basically pick a topic. Tonight we're going to be talking about passive income, and passive in quotes, something that, and things like merch by Amazon and Amazon KDP, and just a slew of other ways that you can use to sell your artwork online. And having said that, I've got something to promote. As if you've been watching, and if you're wondering what the prison tier is, I got out of my first tier for Amazon merch by Amazon, which if you're not familiar, the way this works is there's a lot of people on this platform, so they kind of ease people in, and they so basically you get in, you've got the 10 tier, which is what I just got out of, where you can upload 10 designs and you have to sell 10 designs, and then you move up to the 25. And so hopefully soon I can get that 25 tier. We'll get to both the prison tiers, and then I'll be out of there. And then hopefully that'll open up. I think from there it's the 100 tier, and then hopefully that will kind of get me a little further along on this journey, something that I'm just starting off on. And that's why I wanted to have BeeJay on, because he's been doing it for a couple years, and he's doing pretty well with it. So anyway, so that's pretty much what I got going on. And if you are curious, if you want to get some of my shirts, you can go to amazon.com/shop/circworks, and I'll put that up right there. And and you can find, I've got a few shirts up there. I've got more shirts, but I've got some like St. Patrick's Day stuff up there that you can't find through there. If you are interested in some St. Patrick's Day shirts, just let me know and I can give you a link to where you can find those. Corey, what do you got going on?
I'm just working on my next animation, and so yeah, you can see my stuff coreykerr.com. I'm doing a lot more tutorials for illustrators and designers on how to make your stuff move. So you can see that on Instagram, and I'll be releasing the next kind of round of those on my show that I'm doing with Jim Lujan on Tuesday, where we're going to go through and talk about our animation processes. I don't know how you pluralize that, but yeah, so that's all I'm doing.
So if you include the Artcasters, how many podcasts / live streams you got going on right now?
If you include the Artcasters, I'm doing 48-hour art check, Artcasters, Indie-mation conversation, and I will, a week from tomorrow, start my 4th show, which is going to be the Illotalk Student Edition, which is going to go live during the day on Fridays, and it'll just be students, and I'm going to bring in pros, and we're going to kind of do how to get ready for the industry right as you're exiting college kind of show. So right now 3, 4 soon, and at some point in time I will make art instead of just talking about it for forever. So
all right, so we kind of made him wait long enough. So BeeJay, I found you through your YouTube channel. There was a video, I guess you kind of said a lot of people have recently found you through that video on creating coloring books for KDP. And I can tell you, I basically had that video on while I was uploading my first KDP design, going through every single thing. And it helped me out so much, because I know I've done a few comics through other print-on-demand companies and things like that. And I heard that I didn't even want to get involved with Amazon, because I heard that they reject everything. And part of that is because the bleeds and stuff. But you wisely did yours without the bleed and everything. So I kind of followed everything, and it was pretty much, other than I had a little thing on my spine that even though I lined it up in their guides, they said it was off on a couple of my books, but not all. So there's kind of like, so now my spines are a little off because some of them they okayed at one point size and some of them they didn't. So I don't know how they do that, but anyway, but yeah, so that was a very helpful video, and you put out a couple other videos, and I know you do a lot of stuff on your channel. So I don't know if you want to introduce yourself, talk about your channel, what you're doing, and just anything else you want to promote or anything like that before we get into the topic.
Yeah, so I'm BeeJayDeL, go by BeeJayDeL. Got a YouTube channel called Let's Draw with BeeJayDeL. Been doing YouTube now for about 2 years, and started out, honestly, the first video I put up, funny enough, was kind of using Procreate to make a merch design and kind of walking people through how to use Procreate in the iPad to create a merch design, and let that sit there for, I think, 6 months. It was up before I went back and actually checked on it and saw, hey, this has got views, so maybe there's some interest out there in this kind of stuff. So started doing more and more videos, kind of went off onto the more kind of tutorial type of route as far as illustrating and using Procreate and the iPad. That's mainly what I focus on, because I know there's a lot of people out there that want to learn with the iPad. So that's mostly what the channel's about. Started talking more about kind of making money with your art, talking about KDP, merch by Amazon, stuff like that, kind of getting people's eyes opened to the different possibilities out there. So just kind of want to make people think different about their art and hopefully help them out along the way. So I also do weekly art challenge videos on the channel too. So every Wednesday I have a weekly word prompt where people draw that and then they post it online. I've got a group on Facebook called Keep Creating, a Learn, Draw, Share Art Community, which that's linked in all my videos. So people submit designs for that, and then I pick a handful, like 5, 6, 7 a week. And then the following week I do a video kind of reviewing some of them and showing pros and cons about different designs and what could be changed here and there, and kind of give people exposure, through the channel and stuff like that. So yeah, YouTube's been a wild ride, doing YouTube along with all the making money online with art stuff. So just want to help everybody out along the way to kind of make their kind of goals and dreams achievable as well. So
yeah, and I watched a few of your kind of critique videos and everything that you're doing, and there's some good stuff in there. I was, and just the feedback that you got. I mean, the amount of people that are on a weekly basis, there seems like they're submitting stuff to you to review and everything. It's pretty cool. It seems like you built a really cool community over there. So, and that might be something good for your students even, Corey, to check, because he does give some great feedback and everything. So yeah, definitely, if you're not already familiar, I know a lot of people, some of the people that were in the chat were happy to see you on. They say they already watch your channel and everything. So that's pretty awesome. Though, like I said, the one of the things I think that I really wanted to get in touch with you, because when the videos that you are talking about, like Amazon KDP and merch by Amazon and all that, I've watched a lot of videos. There's a lot of information out there if you're an artist and you want to find that out. If you want to learn about it, I mean, stuff is all out there. But the one thing that I kind of got a little frustrated with, and this may just be me, but I'm like, anytime somebody starts talking about Fiverr, I mean, if you like go to like a YouTube search on Fiverr, like if you type Fiverr sucks, my video, I've got a video that probably pop up first. So I'm not a big fan. So anytime, whether it's a marketer or whatever, I just, I'm not a fan. But anyway, so a lot of that, so I kind of have to, when I'm watching some of the videos, some of these marketers, I try to take some a lot of the great advice they're giving, and I'm trying not to get frustrated with some of the stuff that I'm just not crazy about. But anyway, and the other thing is I wish there were more people like BJ putting out videos on this, and that's kind of one thing why I wanted to do this topic, because I really think that as many people are on these platforms right now, I think we need to have more artists on it, because a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing is just it's not great. So I think if we get some good artists up there, we can kind of elevate that platform. I'm sure Amazon would like that too, because I think that's one of the reasons why they kind of have that tiered system, is they're I think they probably want some better designs. But that's another question that I do have for BJ, is that I know it's a numbers game, but do you think that how much of do you think somebody can go and say if you're up, I'm just going to throw a random number. Say if you've got 500 designs out there, and then somebody comes along with 150, 200 really, really good designs. Do you think they can compete? Or is it just totally a numbers game?
Honestly, it's one thing is a numbers game, obviously, but then it all comes down to your niche,
right?
Exactly what customer you're targeting. I know people that have, a low amount of shirts up, but yet they do more than people with a higher amount of shirts on a higher tier, just because, they're more focused in, or the designs are better. But it's not all about the design. It's really that niche and that customer first and foremost. So the design, honestly, it comes second. And I think that, like what you were saying there, that's where the opportunity is, because I think artists go towards the artwork first. And if they can get the business mindset to focus on looking at different opportunities, different niches, different customer bases, and then combine that with the artwork, there's a huge opportunity for that. So
and to me, and this isn't proven because I'm just starting off with this and I'll kind of learn, but to me, I think an artist that can learn the marketing angle, because I think the marketing is easier to learn than the design. So I think an artist, if they're willing to put in the time and the effort and learn the keywords and learn basically all the stuff that the marketers are doing to sell their designs, and if you're a decent designer, I think that's going to give you an edge over a marketer that may not have the best designs. Now, again, that's not proven, but so I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm trying to take in as much of this stuff as I can, and I spend a lot of time on keyword research and all that stuff, and looking at different niches. Even though right now, I mean, I've already got a number of designs, and you talked about this a little bit before the show, is that a lot of artists just want to put out something that's cool, and there may not be a market for that. But I think some of the stuff that I'm putting out right now, just because I have the designs and I am trying to find, because I do a lot of science-based stuff, so I'm going towards like engineers, and I've got a shirt, like I got one that says Rocket Surgery Institute. So, and in selling this design at conventions and things, I know most of the people that come up to me, I've had people that are actual rocket scientists or whatever. So I kind of know what kind of people buy that stuff. And I'm trying to, any design there you have, I'm trying to gear towards them and get that out there. And then, once when I kind of run out of the designs that I have, then I'll probably go a little deeper in some other niches. But to me, I think you also, some of the videos I'm watching, it's just like, I've heard people talking about going to these niches, and you can tell when they're talking about it, they have no idea what it is. Half the time they can't even pronounce what the niche is.
Yeah.
So I think you need to understand it. I could be wrong, but I think it would help to kind of understand her, because I don't know. I think at least with me, like I'm a big comic book creator, and there's a lot of people doing comic book style content on particularly KDP. And I look at this and I say, this is garbage. This is by somebody who probably watched an episode of Big Bang Theory and thinks they know what comic books are about. And the design isn't anything what a comic book looks like. I mean, they're using like the Bada Boom font, and they're using, Comic Sans, and it's hideous looking. So I think you really need to, I think it would help to kind of understand that niche before you just go into it. I don't know. So, but the other thing is, and this is one of the major questions. I've tried to look for the answer to this, and I haven't found it. So, because I know on one of your videos you talked about, as I get this too, is that people will ask you questions that are easily Googleable.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I hear a lot of people saying on like Merch by Amazon is, I'm uploading 200 designs a day. So I'm just wondering how that's possible, what that actually means, or plus 200 plus or whatever, because it takes me a long time just to do the research and, let alone the design. So I don't know, does that mean, when they say designs, does that does that mean just listing? So would a design also count as each different t-shirts plus a pop socket plus all that?
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah. So each product, counts as a separate one. So if you do a t-shirt and a hoodie and a pop socket, so on and so forth. So, and that's where really the scaling gets involved once you hit those higher tiers.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what my daily limit is, but I think the most I've ever done in a day is like 1,000 designs uploaded.
See, and that's still,
but with that, it's all about scaling. So with those, a lot of times it's using the same piece of artwork, the same actual design, and just scaling it to different niches. And then, there's an easy way. There's some extensions and stuff like that makes it a little bit easier to plug stuff in and do keyboard shortcuts that kind of speeds up the process. But
and I know it's getting faster now for me just starting. Like one of the big problems I had the first time was everything I submitted was getting rejected based on nothing that was on the actual t-shirt, but just keywords, things that seem like they're like a normal, so this design here, this entrepreneur shirt, I think I was describing it in the thing, and I put, I was describing what the shirt was, and I put filament in the shape of, nerdy glasses or something like that. And evidently filament was a clothing brand. So even though it doesn't say it on here, it's just like certain things like that I wouldn't guess. So, and I usually go through and I check I usually check anything that I question, I will check. But now it's like every single word I'm checking before I submit it. And I don't know if is there a list somewhere out there?
How are you checking it?
There's a site called TM Hunt, and it basically will search any kind of trademark and tell you if there's an active trademark for it or whatever. So you basically have to do that with every single word in your description. And some of these are just super common things that people use in everyday language that you aren't expecting to ding you, but they do. So I don't know. Are you to the point where you can just avoid all that altogether, or?
Not really. No, because like you said, it's ridiculous. I'm in another group on Facebook too. It's called Trademark Watchdogs, that are kind of fighting the good fight against that stuff, because there's so many people out there that the U.S. government's giving these trademarks to, which they should not have the trademarks to them. And they're pretty aggressive as far as taking people's stuff down, or Amazon does the check to where if it comes up like your filament shirt, then it just kicks it out. So there's a lot of that. So definitely check that out on Facebook if you guys are on Facebook, Trademark Watchdogs. But you've got to check everything. USPTO.gov is the government site for it, and you can pull it up on there.
Is that the one that the TM Hunt? You use TM Hunt at all? Yeah,
I use TM Hunt and then also the USPTO.
Okay. Does that TM the one that sometimes kicks to once you click on it?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So and that's just, it's kind of a learning curve. I think the last few designs that I submitted didn't bounce back, other than the few times that I've got something like a St. Patrick's Day drinking shirt that I forget to deselect the use size, and then it kind of sucks when you're at the lower tier, because if you submit something that bounces back, unless I'm doing it incorrectly, that takes up one of your submissions for that day. Yeah. So, but anyway,
plus with that too, you want to be careful because you get so many. There's no magic number, but if you get so many dings, they'll terminate your account too. So you want to be careful of that.
Yeah, well, hopefully they give you some leeway, especially when you're starting off. Because I'm not trying to get away with anything, but so that's the biggest thing. Because when you're in somebody else's playground and they make the rules, you could build a pretty nice business. Is that something you worry about, that could just all end if you do something wrong, or how do you?
I don't worry about it too much, just because, especially being in the higher tiers, they know that you're not trying to game the system. They can look, back through your stuff. But that's also what I go back to on some of my videos, talked about just how important it is to have different streams of income. Because like you said, once you're playing in somebody else's playground, they could kick you out, or that playground could close. So if you put all your eggs in one basket, I know a lot of people that do merch and that's all they do. They've been successful with it and that's their full-time job. But when that's the only thing you've got, if that goes away, what else you can do? So, and it's
the same with YouTube. And I know people that, just rely on the money that they're getting from YouTube without any other, there's so many other ways to kind of monetize YouTube other than the AdSense, but some people just rely on that. And it's just like, that's kind of scary. So, but, so I had some other questions. So okay. As far as when we're talking about, getting designs rejected or whatever. So, and you had also mentioned these watchdog groups and everything, and these. So because I know they have a no tolerance policy for either trademark infringement or whatever, but and I know some people are trying to get away with certain things, but if you're not trying to get away with something and it just happened to be something that's common or whatever, or something that somebody registered as a trademark afterwards or something, is it really zero tolerance? Like if you already have a design that's uploaded, not like before uploading it gets sent back, and something's on it, will they immediately? Is there any kind of warning, or have you heard cases where they immediately just terminate your account right off the bat? Or
usually the terminations will come from people that said I did nothing wrong, and in the Facebook groups, and then I don't know why I got terminated, and then people start digging through their profiles, and they listed this the week before, and they tried to game the system because they put hyphens in it, and it's a Philadelphia Eagle shirt, stuff like that. I mean, as long as you play it safe and you're not being blatant about it, and not trying to be deceptive and trying to game the system as far as using different ways to break up the words and the description or the keywords, you should be good. So don't worry too much. But I know a lot of people, when they jump in, they see stuff that they do. Redbubble, we talked before the show started, like parody stuff, and obviously on merch that doesn't float at all. Right. So no parody stuff, and that's one of the things. Crazy people constantly leave comments on YouTube videos about merch and KDP that they want to draw, like comic books or coloring books with famous cartoons in them, and that's something you definitely can't do. I think most of us know that. I mean, it just goes without saying, but I've gotten so many different comments left on that YouTube video about the coloring books. Can I do one of this or this? Because I drew them, but it's like, no, if you don't own it, you can't do it. So
I was looking just doing research, and I found one that was like, the artwork didn't look great on it, and it had a picture, it had some Marvel heroes, and then it had a couple DC heroes. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. And I look in it, and I'm looking, and on the first page it says this is not affiliated with Marvel or DC Comics, and it says it's under fair use. And I'm like, you don't really understand what fair use is all about. But it had sales on it, so I don't know. I don't know how they're getting away with that. But
that's the one thing too. I think a lot of people misunderstand is they look at what's already up on Amazon,
right?
Like T-shirts or coloring books, and they say, well, this is already up there, so if that's up there, why can't I do it? And then it just rolls downhill. Especially with merch, there's different sites that you can actually see the different merch shirts and see what are the top sellers. And a lot of people don't understand there's actually brands using merch.
Yeah,
so Disney's on there. Some of the other TV shows and stuff like that, they're on there. So when people see these, they assume, oh, well, they're on there, I can do them. But they don't understand these brands are actually using merch as well. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Just because they're up there doesn't mean that you can do them. There's a reason.
That's a little more reassuring, like you said, that the ones that are getting their accounts terminated are kind of trying to game the system, because, like I said, I've never been, I'd rather, before I was always about building my brand, and now I kind of see the benefit of kind of doing what you're doing. And you can talk about that too in a minute, but about kind of going into some of these other niches and not just concentrating on your brand. But you say, I just want to create artwork, and I want to get out there. I want to make a living off my artwork. And sometimes, if you tie everything to your brand, that's sort of a detriment. So even though I'm not going to give up my brand, because I like doing that stuff, but I definitely see the benefit of going in some of these other areas. And there's so many different ways to niche. I think I could still do things that I enjoy, or even if it's something I don't care about, but if I got a good idea, because I notice a lot of, I've got like a notebook of just like, even like the St. Patrick's Day shirts I've done that I just put up there, they came out of my own head. Now, if they start selling, they're going to get ripped off. I understand that's kind of how it goes. But almost all the videos I've seen people do, it's like, okay, go and find a slogan somewhere else that somebody else came up with, and then just change it. And it's like, okay, and certain things are they've been used so many times, it's almost like, you could probably put your own spin on it or whatever. But I've never seen too many videos of people actually creating their own original stuff. And not to brag, but I've got so many ideas that I could just continue to do what I like, and I don't know if I'll run out of ideas. So I don't know. I mean, but what we got here? Oh yeah, with this. So we're just showing some. Yeah, so you can see some of BJ stuff here, and you can get into this, BJ, because I mean, the stuff you're seeing here probably isn't even on shirts on merch, or it might, some of them might be, but you've got, I'm sure you've got, and that's the other thing you have to worry about is there's a lot of people who will take your ideas. So that's kind of why, you know, you don't always put things under your own brand. That's why people were searching for my shirts. They couldn't find them. So
yeah, exactly. That's one thing we talked about for the show. I really like Amazon because of that. So if you go with TeePublic or Redbubble, those sites, you know, everything's listed under your shop or your store. With Amazon, every single shirt you can put a different brand. Same thing with KDP, every single book you can put a different author, which is really cool because especially, you know, merch and the t-shirts, that brand name is actually a section that could be something that ranks your shirt. So you can use that for keywords. You've got the title that you can use for keywords. So rather than just using, you know, your brand name, you're kind of wasting valuable space there. So if you kind of niche down with that, use the niche in the brand name and make it sound official. That's a good way to actually get your shirt ranked and seen. So
is there a limit?
I need to update my website too.
Is there a limit to the number of those niches that you can do as far as brand names?
No, it's every single listing you do, you can put a separate one in. So yeah, you have 10,000 shirts up, you can have 10,000 different brand names.
And a lot of, when you're doing those brand names, you kind of want to use those as keywords too. So when you create your brand name, you like put some of those keywords that people are going to look for, whatever your design is, on there too. Because it's like, I assume the title, from what I hear, the title is the most important thing. So, you know, if you got to get, I mean, you got to make it look like it's just not, you're just typing a bunch of keywords, but
right.
Try to drop those keywords and everything in there. And there's things that, you know, that a few of the early listings that I put in, like, I didn't do anything that wasn't actually part of the shirt, but I did do some things that sound like it's kind of maybe a little frowned upon, where it's like, this is great for your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, you know.
Yeah, that was something back in the day. Like every single, you know, YouTube channel that talked about merch, that was always what you were supposed to do. Now it's kind of frowned on. They were changing some rules in TOS stuff where they wanted to stop keyword stuffing, and it was pretty much you're just talking about the design is what they switched to. So I think kind of you're doing yourself a disservice if you're using valuable space to say, you know, mom, dad, girlfriend, boyfriend, you know, so on and so forth. So
well, I try, and also try to make it sound like it's like because I write ad copy too for my products and stuff. So I try to make it flow and it sound good. So it doesn't look like I'm keyword stuffing, but some of the stuff, the later ones, I stopped doing that as much, unless it's, you know, if it's a Valentine's Day shirt, then yeah, I would say get it for your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. I mean, it applies, but I don't do that in every single thing. So, but it is, and you brought up a good point, is that a lot of the videos that I'm watching, some of them are from like whatever 2 years ago, and it seems like this platform it's a relatively new platform, but it is, you know, a lot of people are talking about now how it's talking about merch, but how oversaturated it is. And I still think they got so much room to grow because they don't have a lot of products on there right now. They've only got a few, I'm sure, and they have Amazon has their sights set out on being the number one, you know, print on demand company, and I'm sure they will get there. Obviously, they're Amazon, but it's some of you know, I'm always like, sometimes if a video comes up and it says it's a couple years old, I won't even watch it because I'm sure it's changed so much by then. Do you find that's the case, or is there still things that are still valid that were the case a couple years ago?
Honestly, it's hit or miss depending on the video and the time frame, because before you couldn't have any cuss words on any products. Now you can, just as long as you don't select youth sizes. You couldn't have any drug references or anything like that. Now you can, as long as it's not on youth. So that's one of the things that's changed quite a bit. And it depends. They're changing, you know, TOS and a lot of stuff all the time. Older videos too, you're going to have, it used to be just a single product upload, and now they've got that multi-product upload, which is really nice because you used to have to go in and do every single one separate. So there's definitely going to be some outdated information out there. So you kind of need to pick and choose, I guess. But even some of the older stuff can still be valuable. So.
Okay. All right. So do you, I mean, is there anything in particular that you're looking at? I mean, so I guess I kind of want to go into, you did a video on this, but I kind of want to go, we've already talked about how you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You want to be on a number of different platforms. So what platforms are you on right now, and kind of what's working for you now, and what are you predicting might be the future of some of these platforms? What are you going to go deeper into?
So right now, my main platforms, merch by Amazon, KDP, YouTube, and then Gumroad are the main 4 different ones. I do dabble here and there and other stuff. I've got, Etsy, which I need to do more with. I want to kind of focus that on this year's the main goal is getting Etsy going a little bit more with digital downloads and stuff like that. Redbubble, I've dabbled with Redbubble in the past, but Amazon I've always had more luck with. Yeah. That's the thing. I've seen some people recommend Redbubble in some of my merch videos, and from what I've seen, merch destroys Redbubble month in and month out. I actually went through at the end of the year, took down every single thing that I had on Redbubble, and I'm kind of trying to rework the store right now. I want to make it just a sticker store, just because with Redbubble you can do so many more products than merch, and I think it's kind of confusing for the customers when you've got to drop down and I want, this is a sticker, but you can also get it as a duvet cover. Some of that stuff is kind of ridiculous, so I want to kind of focus on that and make it just stickers. TeePublic dabbled before, but once again, haven't had, a huge amount of luck. That's the thing with Redbubble, or TeePublic. Go out to the street and ask 100 people on the street if they've heard of Amazon. Guaranteed 100 people are going to say they've heard of Amazon. Right. And you go out and ask if they've heard of Redbubble, you might have 1 out of 100. So right. That's the benefits of merch. That's the benefits of Amazon. And I saw a comment on this on one of my videos before too. Or actually, maybe it was in a Facebook group. Guy said, well, with merch, you've got tier levels and I can only upload 1 a day, and it's going to take me just 10 days to even upload 10. If I go on Redbubble, I can upload, 100 if I want to in a day. So why would I even do merch, and it's because it's Amazon. You get that organic traffic that you're not going to get anywhere else. You can make sales off of Redbubble, but 9 times out of 10 with that, you're going to have to be the one driving the traffic there. So you've got to have that social media presence to say, hey, here's my Redbubble shop, go buy it. With merch, you can just throw it up as long as your keywords and description and everything and your niche are good, it's going to sell itself. So then we talked about creative market. Kind of want to get into that this year, doing more digital stuff. My main thing is how I look at stuff, and with artwork in particular. I thought about doing Etsy with physical goods at the end of last year, and not even doing so much like Printful integration or anything like that, like actually doing physical goods that would ship out. But to be honest, I love not having to touch anything, like not having inventory, not having to check and see if I've got to send out orders in the morning. So that's why I think, like you said, what's the goal this year? What's going to be big is just going to be everything that can go digital, so like the creative market, the Etsy, stuff like that, to where you're not fulfilling orders, you're not touching inventory, you're not stocking inventory, anything like that. That's what makes me so excited as far as the print on demand world goes. The same thing with the digital assets. So
yeah. So there was something you said I wanted to touch on, but I don't remember. Maybe it'll come to me. But so as far as we can get into a little bit of because I hopefully I want to try to give you some value too, because I feel like I'm just asking you a bunch of questions.
No, it's all good.
So I have dabbled. I have done some stuff as far as the digital design products, and some of it's hit or miss. Some of products that I put up a long time ago that gradually are starting to get more sales. The biggest product that I put out is called the Comic Maker Toolkit. Part of that is, and I think the main thing is that I again, it's all about niching. So I'm going into an area that I know a lot about and that no one's really done anything yet. I mean, I'm starting to see some other people starting to do some stuff, but no one was really doing any digital designs for comic book creators. So, it's a pretty, I started off big. So, there's a lot of, I know you said you sell like clip art and stuff on Gumroad. Mm-hmm. So the digital products are a little different, where you kind of have to, first of all, you have to offer a little bit more than like a page of like clip art elements. It's got to be, I mean, some of the best products on there, they go pretty deep. Like mine it's got like halftone screens and okay, here, so he's putting it up there. So it's got like halftone screens, it's got comic book brushes, it's got, you know, fonts, just storytelling tools, all kinds of different things. So, you know, I put a lot of time in that. So it took a long time to build that. The other thing is you can kind of see it, when you're putting products on like Creative Market or whatever, half of it are the thumbnails. You not only have to, you know, build the product, but you have to, you know, you have to market it. You have to show really attractive thumbnails and show people what this product can do. And, you know, this might not even be the best example of what Corey's showing you. Like if you look, but just look on and you can kind of see some of the best products, and you'll kind of see how everything's laid out and everything. But, you know, sometimes it takes almost as much time to do the product thumbnails and everything as it does to actually build the product. But again, it's all marketing. So there's a lot of upfront time and everything. And like anything else, you know, I released a number of different products. Like I released font packs, and I have these avatar builders that when I first launched them, they didn't do great, but now they're starting to sell more. Because even though, and I guess we didn't bring this up in the beginning, I did say kind of passive in quotes. None of this stuff is actually passive. I don't know. Do you ever seen any of Roberto Blake's videos, BJ?
I don't think so.
Okay, so Roberto Blake, he's not really, well, he is a creative, he is an artist, but he's more YouTuber and talks about, you know, optimizing YouTube and all that kind of stuff. But you know, he kind of, instead of passive income, he says automated income, and I think that makes a lot more sense, because you have to put in all the upfront time and everything, and but once it gets going, then it can kind of continue on. But in the meantime, you're building other things, so it's not like, you know, I don't know how you are, BJ, but you know, I work, you know, 12, sometimes 14 hours a day building stuff and everything. And again, I'm just starting off, so maybe that'll start cutting down once I start getting some of this stuff going. But there's a lot of work involved. It's not easy, but it is nice. Like, oh, that's the thing you had mentioned, you know, that you like the fact of not carrying inventory and everything. Mm-hmm. And not to discourage anyone from ordering like physical products from my store, because I do like that. But I can tell you that when I get an email that I get an order, and if it's a digital, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have to ship, I don't have to pack anything up and ship it. So, you know, and the margin sometimes, a lot of times, sometimes the digital, depending on the product, like you know, Amazon, I mean, you can set your own product, you know, margin, but it's usually not big if you want to compete. But again, you're dealing with a massive marketplace. So like if I could sell as many copies of my Comic Maker Toolkit from my site as I do on some of these other sites, I'd be making a lot more money. But I don't have the audience. They have the audience. So the digital design marketplace that I've had the best luck with is Design Cuts, and they're based in the UK. And again, this is all going to depend, you know, on, you know, individuals. But they managed to find one of my products early on, and then I kind of started a rapport, and I know the owner and everything like that. I've met him in person and everything. And the one thing about them is they're probably the most curated marketplace there is. You can't just upload something. You have to be accepted in and everything. But I've had a lot of luck with that. Now, what I found out is that I had a product, my Comic Maker Toolkit, when it launched, it was like for at least 3 or 4 days, it was like their #1 selling product. And because of that, I got a lot of response from other sites that saw that, and they run these other bundle deals, and they want to include me in a bundle or run a special, and that stuff is still going. So, you know, and it's usually you got to have sort of an exclusive, not exclusive for the product, but exclusive for the price. Like when they do a bundle, they want to run it for a really good price. And then, so I'm trying to line up all these one thing after another. Like once this bundle's over, then the next one happens. And it's a lot of wrangling to try to figure out who's got what. But so, you know, that's kind of where I am with that. And I really probably should be focusing more, because I built some momentum on this, and I really should probably be doing that instead of the Amazon stuff. But these products take a lot more time than it does to put a shirt up on Amazon. So I'm kind of trying to juggle all these. And I think that's what's really attractive for Amazon, is that, and that's why so many marketers are getting into it, because, you know, for lack of a better term, it seems like easy money, even though nothing's really easy money. But, you know, it's not that much to either hire somebody to do a design, or if you're a designer, to do it yourself. And if you get in there, you can put these up. And if you learn the marketing and the keywords and the niches and all that kind of stuff, then I think it's a little easier. There's a little less upfront, if that makes sense. So I don't know if that dissuades you from getting into some of these things, but the thing is also, you know, even though I probably got to the point where I probably made it profit, because I spent a lot of time designing that, you know, that toolkit. But the good thing is, like, now I'm taking elements from that and I'm making physical books out of them, and I'm repurposing a lot of this other stuff. And I think that's kind of like what you were talking about before, BJ, is that you can have one design, and, like, for instance, my design that's I don't have enough slots right now, but my design that says Rocket Surgery Institute, I could easily put class of and put all the different years and upload different ones. And so is that the kind of stuff you're talking about, as far as like different listings and kind of multiplying based on one design, things like that? Or are you also talking about going into different niches with a similar design? And
both, yeah. So you can definitely scale stuff out like that with years is a perfect example. And then I did a video previously talking about scaling designs, and for that one, I used an example of an apple. So you could have that, and it's just a boy who loves apples, just a girl who loves apples. And this is not the best example, but, you know, it kind of gets you thinking in that direction. You could do, you know, the first day of school shirt. You could do 100 days of school shirt. You could do like a retirement shirt, like a apple a day. You're still going to die anyway, stuff like that, you know, retired, and then the date. So just taking that one design that's going to be the bulk of your work, is, you know, just physically drawing that out, but then, you know, just adding the text in and changing it. It's super easy to do. So that one design actually gets you 20 or 30, you know, different actual shirts. And then if you think that, you know, each one of those, you have, you know, 8 products that you can put them on, then all of a sudden, you know, there's, you know, almost 100 different uploads you've got in just one design. So that's what I tell people, like, and I've gotten out of freelancing over the past year, because doing stuff like that, you know, charging for one design and you're done with it, so on and so forth, where I can do one design, and not only is it going to make money on that product, but it's going to make money on possibly hundreds of different products for X amount of weeks, years, months, you know, whatever. So that's the way that I want people to think about it, and kind of understand too that you don't want to put too much time into that one design if it's the only thing you're going to use it for. That's what I personally stay away from, is doing just one like killer design, and, you know, spending 8 hours on one design and then maybe selling 1 or 2 over the course of a year. You know, it's rough to be able to do that. So just being able to use that across different things is kind of the smart way to go about it. And that's what I suggest. Once you get, you know, higher tiers, you've got more slots open, just throw them in there and see what happens. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I had a student who did pretty well. This is years ago, but did pretty well, started t-shirts, and he was doing activity plus location, you know. And so it was like, you know, climb New York, bike New York, run New York, blah, blah. And he would just be, you know, just a simple design that, and then he would run kind of really small, kind of micro pay-per-click ads, targeted. This is probably pre-Cambridge Analytica, but on Facebook and Instagram. And so if you're a rock climber and you live in Ohio, then you're going to get the Climb Ohio ad, and you're like, hey, I do those things and live in that place. And so he was, I mean, just right out the gate, he was selling like 2 shirts a day, from like going from, I don't even have a t-shirt business, to, you know, upwards of like 60 in the first month. And so it was just kind of, he had just niched down really hard in a way that he could do that. I thought that was kind of an interesting way of doing it.
Yeah, and that's pretty much exactly what I'm talking about. That's what you kind of have to approach it. Thinking about it like that is a perfect example. So, like we talked about before, with as far as changing the different name brands on each listing. As far as me, I've got maybe I think I've got 3 different T-shirts up actually under my name. That's it.
Yeah,
I've got thousands of listings up, but only 3 are under my name. Just because, like I said, I see more value in going after the customer, after the niche, than I do with, going with my brand name. I, have a YouTube channel with a decent following and stuff like that. But honestly, I find that I get more sales off of the customer that's searching for that specific shirt than I do even people, going on the YouTube channel and following over and buying a shirt from there. So that's just what works for me. I know I talked about it in one of the previous videos, is it's kind of hard, I know, for artists to let go of the ego that they want their name attached to everything that they do, and they want people to buy this because they drew it. And for me, it's more important just that I'm having fun drawing and I'm creating and I'm making money from it. So if I can draw a shirt for a grandma, and it's something that I usually wouldn't draw, I'm going to draw it. So
yeah, that's kind of my goal, is to get out of doing the client work and just, do, draw and make my own schedule and do what I want, even though if I make my own schedule, it's going to be working 14 hours a day because I'm crazy. But
yeah,
when you own your own business, you get to work half days and you get to choose which 12 hours it is. So,
yeah.
So BJ, I've got a question. You mentioned that you try to stay away from, doing a killer design that takes you 8+ hours that's only going to sell 1 or 2 a year. What on average, what kind of time are you spending on a design? Obviously, you'll make one and then figure out how to repurpose it into a bunch of different products. But I mean, are you spending 2 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, but with the intention to splinter it? Or are you trying to get 3 or 4 done a day? Or what's kind of your timeline on that? I'm curious.
Yeah, usually as far as the design itself, I'll try to get a design done in an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then spend, maybe another hour scaling that out into 10, 15, different listings or designs from there. And that takes a little bit of research beforehand. So a lot of times I'll jump in and I'll think, okay, I kind of want to draw something like this. So is this able to be used across different niches, and is there an actual market for that? So one thing that I would recommend, one of the best research tools that you have, is the autofill on Amazon. So when you go in and you start typing into search, it will just start autofilling what other people have searched for. And then pretty much the most popular ones are going to come down from the top. So you can really use that to your advantage as far as doing your research, seeing what other people are already searching for. And I've gotten a lot of ideas off that too, because you might see another keyword that's listed in there and it leads you down a whole other path. So that's one thing that you can definitely use to your advantage. And if you don't see something in there, don't think that, there's nobody searching for it. It might be that there are people searching for it. It's just not popular enough to pop up. But if you're the only one going into that, it's going to be a wide open niche for you. So
with that, if you see something, you've got an idea for design, you see something that it's kind of a popular thing and it's already crowded, is there the possibility? I mean, do those rankings change frequently, or is it one of those things like I found in like Google's algorithm? They're going off of a lot of like historical data. And so things build over time and then it becomes the thing that's always returned, and it's hard to kind of like knock that off. Is Amazon a little bit different, where you could come in and climb the ranks in an already crowded area, or?
It depends. There's so many ins and outs with that. So it used to be that it was just straight BSR, which is bestseller rank, and everything would be by bestseller rank. So the top one, basically the lower, the better. So those are going to be seen first. And then they started changing it. They were shuffling stuff around, that sometimes they would let like newly listed stuff kind of randomly appear here and there. So there was possibilities of that. And then of course you've got ads, which we haven't even got into, AMS ads, to where you can pay to have your stuff seen. But I know some people have thrown in a ton of money into that over the years. And it was the last Christmas time, not 2019, 2018. They actually took all the older products that were up and changed the ASIN, which is like the SKU number basically. And when they changed the ASIN, it wiped out the BSR. So a lot of people that have been in merch since the beginning that have run thousands of dollars worth of ads to get a shirt to rank, and then it's just constantly sold. All of a sudden it had no BSR and it just disappeared from that top ranking page. So that's something else. Once again, playing in somebody else's playground or sandbox. So they make the rules and can change stuff like that. So personally for me, I don't use ads. I've tried them in the past. I found with my stuff that it sells better without the ads, I guess, or sells relatively the same. I would spend money on ads and not get any sales for the day. And then the budget would get hit. And then later on in the day, some would sell. So I've got my own theories with that. I'm not going to get into all that, but I think sometimes when people, run ads themselves, they might go in and try to run out your click rate for the day, so your ad spend goes away so that their ads can start after yours. I don't know if that's a thing, but it's kind of weird when you run through, let's say, a $10 ad spend in a day and you don't sell any, and then after that ad spend's done, 6 hours later you sell 2 or 3. Just kind of weird. So
that's interesting, because I'm pretty much with you, because that's one of the things you've mentioned, and that's the one thing that really got me thinking about really diving in hard on some of this Amazon merch, because you were saying that you don't promote it. Because I'm, I've always said I'm a bad marketer, but I don't think I'm a bad marketer. I'm just, the follow through is the hardest part for me. Because once I can go before I launch the product and I can research all the keywords and I can look into the niche and find something that needs to be served or whatever. But after I launch that product, I'm on to the next thing. So, there's so many things like, oh man, I should really take this product, like my comic maker toolkit. I really need to make a Pinterest post and put it up there. And I really need to do, and it's that stuff I still think I should do, but it's just, I'm on to other things, so it's like, so that when you mentioned that, I was kind of like, okay, that sounds like it might be more my speed, so.
And I know a lot of people that have success with ads. Like I said, a lot of people do this as a full-time job. And once they're done uploading for the day, then it's focusing on ads and looking at the analytics and the metrics and, adjusting keywords and ad spends and stuff like that. But for me personally, that's when they would be doing that, I'm moving on to YouTube for the day, or I'm moving on to KDP for the day. That's why I want to have, all the different streams and be able to focus on it. So that's the one thing that I gave up that I don't do as ads. I know some people would think I'm crazy, because ads, one for the first part is not everybody gets ads right away. You actually have to have like a code that you can be approved to even run ads. Okay. So a lot of people are just kind of biting at the bit, wanting to get approved for this code so they can start running ads. And here I've got it, and I'm like, I don't use it. So,
so is that, how hard is that to get? Because there is, like, in most cases, like I said, I'm kind of your opinion, but in the case of this book series that I'm doing on KDP, like I said, it's a very saturated market for people who are searching for, blank comic book pages or whatever. But like I said, I know if people saw mine, they're going to buy it over at least everything else I've seen. So if I could put it up there, it's like, well, what are you going to, if it's the same price point and this looks way better, why wouldn't you click on that? So in that case, I think that ad might do good, but I don't know, maybe I'm not approved for that, or maybe.
Yeah, I know with merch, it comes up in the dashboard that there's a code. I'm not, and I know the code for that, the AMS ads is the same across everything. So you can run the merch ads with that, and you can also run KDP. So I don't know if there's a different way to get it just for KDP. To be honest, that I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's all the same. But with that being said, honestly, KDP would be the one that I think that ads would be somewhat beneficial.
Okay.
I think there's so many people doing merch right now that don't understand it. They don't understand the ad spends. That there's times that I'll go in just to see what's going on with ads, because you type in your keywords and then it shows you basically what the average rate is to get seen. So if it's a non-competitive keyword, you might spend 10 cents. Usually, like, sweet spot is between 10 and 19 cents for click. And there's some people that, like, for, let's say, Valentine shirts are putting in like $2 clicks, which is just ridiculous, because especially, I know, you know, one of the kind of ideas that everybody has is to start out low, like you're doing, you know, get out the tier, so you're not making a profit. So there's a lot of people that start out low on the price, not making a profit, 1307 or whatever it is now, and then they'll do a $2 ad spend, which is just ridiculous, because you're not making money and you're spending $2 every time somebody clicks that. I mean, just nuts. So that's why seeing some stuff like that, I gave up on it and don't worry about it. So
yeah, the 1307 to me, even though I'm not trying to make a profit, but I think I put mine at 13.99, because, like, who's gonna is anyone gonna say, oh, 99 cents versus 7 cents? I don't know.
Right.
So I mean, so I just put it at 13.99. But but so what's your opinion on the sort of the oversaturation? Are you finding it harder to find good niches and things like that, or where do you see Amazon merch going, merch in particular? Because I know a lot of people have talked about moving over to Etsy or moving over to to KDP and things like that versus merch. What's your opinion on that?
I mean, there is more competition now than it is, a more saturated market, for sure. That was one thing I talked about in one of my videos, was as far as making money with your art and what I made in December. And, some people, and I even stated in the video, like, these are Q4 numbers. Q4 is a little bit elevated, but the what I made in merch in 2018 in December was maybe 15-20% more than what I made in merch December 2019. But 2018 I had 1,000 products up. 2019 I had 5,000. So I had 5 times the amount of products, and only made maybe, I think it was like 15-20% more. So with what I made in December 2019, I thought I was going to probably make 2.5 times. Being, you're not going to sell 5 if you have 5 times more products. You're not going to sell 5 times more. I mean, that's just the way it goes. But being safe with it, 2 times I thought I would make, and it didn't happen. So obviously it is getting more saturated, but at the same time, like I said, it's Amazon, it's huge. And you've looked through the shirts, like you said, there's stuff out there that's garbage that sells. And, if you're an artist and an illustrator, if you can wrap your head around the marketing side of it, as far as what people are searching for, the keywords and the descriptions and the titles and all that stuff, that's where the key lies. So
do you feel that gave you an advantage, that you have an advantage as an artist over somebody who's going in as a marketer, who's probably commissioning people off of Fiverr or something like that?
I think that's one huge advantage that you have, is being an artist. But at the same time, my kind of understanding of marketing and stuff like that gives me an advantage over artists going into it. Right. I've got a bunch of artists that I talk to back and forth on text messaging and DMing and so on and so forth, but they struggle with merch. Phenomenal artists, like crazy work, but yet that whole marketing side, the understanding the customer and niching down and stuff like that, they just don't get. So they've not had the luck. So that's what I found, is artists have a hard time on merch. But then marketers, they have an easier time, because they understand that, but they have to pay out the nose for designs, or their designs aren't as good because they can't afford as much. So if you can, as an artist, get that marketing side, you got the best of both worlds. It's just crazy.
That's kind of what I'm hoping, because I do. I mean, and I do enjoy the marketing, because there's times right now that go by that I haven't, certain days where I haven't drawn anything. I'm just doing like keyword research, and I do enjoy that too. So hopefully that means that I'll be able to do okay with this, but time will tell, I guess. But we're getting close. So there are a couple more things I wanted to touch on. We haven't really talked too much about KDP. I'm curious, like, what's working for you on KDP? I know the video you did was a coloring book. Now it seems like, I know you've done enough artwork that you could probably take and compile a coloring book. So I don't know how much, you talk about not spending 8 hours on a t-shirt and putting it up there, but it seems like a coloring book would take a decent amount of time to put up there. So I don't know if that's just the example you use, if you're doing more lower content stuff, or if you're doing a variety, or what's working for you on KDP.
The thing that initially got me kind of interested in KDP was the low content, no content, like journal stuff like that. Honestly, haven't sold a whole lot of those. Couple
Really?
here and there. I mean, it's been minimal. You know, I might sell 1 or 2 a day, but not anything crazy. The one low content, no content that I put up that's a different kind of beast is I've got a 365 days of drawing prompts book.
Okay.
That's one of the only things that I actually do market, talk about on my YouTube channel. So that one technically low content, but that one's kind of taken off just because I do talk about it. And then of course, talking about it gets sales. And then once you get that BSR and it starts ranking, it's going to sell by itself.
Okay.
So that's good too. If you do have, you know, an audience on social media that you can kind of pick and choose a few things to market. I know that's one thing that people hate the most is when they've got a personality that's constantly, you know, trying to push something all the time. If you provide awesome value, you know, and kind of sprinkle that in. But there's too many times I see that it's just, that's basically what they're there for, is you're just, you know, constantly showing something. So as far as that, if you can kind of sprinkle it in, then it gets the organic sales. That's what I found has worked with that. And then the coloring books, that's been the main thing is the coloring books. Take a lot more time on coloring books, obviously. With coloring books, I talked about it in that video. I try to do 30-page coloring books. That kind of seems to be the sweet spot. Pricing on them is fairly decent. Usually sell those for like $5.99, $6.99, depending on like the niche. Sometimes you can get away with a little bit more. But with that, yeah, spend more time on those. But once again, with that, I've got a few coloring books up that I've gone through my previous design sitting in my Procreate gallery and thought, okay, so which ones of these can I, you know, kind of make a coloring book out of? And once again, it targeting a certain niche, you know, if I can incorporate these into kind of a niche related coloring book. And with coloring books, it's the same exact thing as the t-shirts. It's got to be a niche. It's got to be something that is going to have a kind of laser focused customer in mind. With that, I think it was my live video that I talked about, and somebody said, well, how should I approach this? Because my niche is it mandalas? I don't even know how to pronounce it, you know? Yeah. That's my niche for my coloring book. And it's like, well, that's not a niche, right. You know, that's like an entire, an entire thing. So with niches, same thing with t-shirts, you've got to have that customer in mind and kind of laser focus it in towards that customer specifically. With those, they're going to take longer, but at the same time, I found over the holiday season this year, my book sales beat my merch sales, which is just nuts because I've put so much time into merch over the past 2 years. And with KDP, I kind of started getting serious about it in like March, April, May, something like that of 2019. 2019. So to have my KDP sales, you know, be bigger than my merch sales was just crazy. And I think that goes to show you, I mean, Amazon started out as a bookseller, you know, to begin with, and still like people go crazy for books on there. And if you're providing the right content, you know, in those books, they're going to sell. I know one of the comments somebody had left on one of the videos that I had done was, why is anybody going to pay $5.99 for a coloring book when you get it for $1 at the Dollar Tree? I saw that comment. I'm like, well, it's because they can't buy this coloring book at the Dollar Tree. That's why I know a lot of people are just going to throw up a book of cute cats that they drew. You know, why
do people buy Nike shoes when they could buy shoes at Walmart?
So just I think.
Sorry, with your KDP stuff, the book sales stuff, what percentage would you say are you doing different types of products like coloring books and low content, no content? Like if you could break that up into categories, just roughly, I'm just curious.
Let me think. Probably, I would say I've got 80% low content, no content. 20% coloring books, and the coloring books make up probably 95% of the total. So yeah, I totally stopped doing the low content, no content. Just no reason for it as far as I'm concerned. I think there is like a market for it if you put more time into it. With what I was doing is basically just line journals.
Okay.
I mean, nothing crazy, but if you've got something that's low content, no content, that's actually like, you know, keeping track of certain things, or like actual charts for journaling, or, you know, tracking different goals, stuff like that. I think that's definitely beneficial. Of course, it just takes so much longer to actually do the interiors for those. But I know a lot of people when they first jumped into this, just doing the line journals. And like I said, I just haven't had a huge amount of success with that. So
yeah, because I've got a list of, sorry, real quick. I got a list of all kinds of ideas for low content stuff, but it's very customized. The interiors are very customized. They're not templates or anything like that. So I'm hoping that that'll do better than kind of what you were talking about, because that doesn't, I mean, I would have quit doing those too if you're not having any success. So sorry, Corey, go ahead.
No, that's fine. And then within your coloring books, are those like the adult coloring books that I'm seeing where it's super complicated designs and you're meant to do it like gel pens, or is it more for like a younger age where you're using crayons, or are you doing kind of all kinds of different things, or what?
Pretty much all kinds of different things. Yeah. More geared towards, I guess, like an older crowd. They're not the super hardcore crazy things, but more geared to the older crowd, just because, once again, if you gear it towards the kids, I think with the coloring books, you're running into that argument of, well, they just want to color, so why don't I just go down to the Dollar Tree, you know?
Right.
Plus with kids too, they kind of want recognizable characters, so they want their, you know, their Marvel coloring books or their My Pretty Pony or, you know, whatever. So that's why I think adults with certain, you know, interests are kind of more the sweet spot to go with for the coloring books.
So if you got, like, say you got a daughter who loves, or there's daughters out there who love, say, cupcakes. If you do a cupcake coloring book, I don't know if those are available in like the average store, or do you think that's something that might sell, something like that, where kids will color on anything, but if they're not necessarily looking for a coloring book, they're looking for a gift for somebody who likes this thing. If they're, well, unicorns is, you know, obviously
super saturated. Yeah.
but as an example, you know.
Yeah. And then combining other things, I know like the farting stuff was big for a while. So there was like farting unicorns and farting sloths was like a whole trend. And but yeah, looking for those things that if there is, you know, market, even if it is younger, but there's nothing in it, or there's maybe only a couple that you think that you could, you know, make an impact with. Of course, with the coloring books, like I said, they take so much more time that I would probably plan on there being some sort of already established interest that I can use as proof of concept to justify spending, you know, 15, 20 hours on doing a coloring book. So
can you, or have you done something similar with the coloring books, like you're doing with the merch, where you can take a coloring book and you can make some tweaks to it and put that out as different products?
Yep.
Okay. Right.
Yep. Yeah. Without giving away too much.
I understand there's people out there to steal stuff, so I kind of understand the game.
Yeah, I've got two different coloring books right now, which are almost the same coloring book, but aimed at two totally different audiences.
Okay, cool.
So, and there wouldn't be any crossover. Like I ordered this and I ordered this one, and it's the same coloring, but it's not going to be the same people that order them, so that I would never have a problem with that. So,
okay, awesome. Man, this is all great stuff. Corey, is there anything, because we're getting close to the hour and a half mark, so I don't know if there's anything else that because I've been kind of monopolizing most of the questions.
Yeah, so I mean, I have, Scott, like you, I haven't tried this, and so you've got in and kind of done it. But if I were to, merch is different than KDP, right? KDP is like book printing, and merch is like print on demand onto a bunch of different products. Is that
right?
Okay, and so
right now, pop sockets, but I assume they're gonna roll out new stuff.
Okay. So with that, if I were to sign up today, is there a tiered entry structure to KDP like there is on the merch side?
No, that's one of the benefits and why I honestly recommend KDP, because with merch number one, you have to be approved for merch, so you have to submit an application. You've got to wait. I think, Scott, you got in pretty quick though, didn't you?
For merch, I did, because I think, and I don't know, I've heard people wait a long time, but since I already have T-shirts and products for sale, I'm thinking maybe that's what pushed me through, because they can see, oh, this guy can design and stuff like that. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Well, I know before the approval process back in the day, I think I waited 3 months.
Okay,
which was actually pretty quick. And before, it was like a 6 to 7 month waiting period. And it wasn't based on, you know, if you have products or if you don't. It was based on this is how long it takes us to look at your application. So yeah, it's a lot faster now. Yeah, that's awesome.
Just to get in. maybe like a work week or maybe, but yeah, I was really happy because I kind of put it aside and like, well, it's going to take a while. It'll happen when it happens, and they got back to me. So
they're a lot quicker. I think they've added a bunch of people at
now
Amazon Home Office to go through everything.
To get a book approved, that process seems to take a little while.
Yeah, it takes longer. Just with KDP, everything is well, once you get past the initial approval section, because they have actual people looking through when you first start out. But then for Amazon, the merch, it's just automatic, pretty much approval that it just goes through the computer system. I think with KDP, you've got somebody checking.
I've noticed that when I moved from tier, I just got into tier 25 on merch, but I noticed that before, like I had a couple where I forgot to deselect the kit size or whatever, and it bounced back. But then when I re-uploaded it, it was just like boom. Whereas before, a lot of times or you know, whatever, even one design, like it would say under review or whatever.
Under review, yeah.
It seems like even the 25 tier, it's taking less time for that to go through. I don't know.
Yeah, initially, I think with the initial tier starting out, they actually have a human at Amazon looking at it. So that's what really sucks too. If you submit something on a Friday, you've got to wait till Monday for anybody to look at it. But yeah, when you're past that, that 25, I guess it is now. I think it might have been 25 before. Maybe it was 100. But yeah, they'll just an automatic process that, you know, is computerized, and it's all from there. So it goes a lot quicker. And
you guys are saying 10, 25. That's the daily limit, or that's what I mean. What is that number representing?
That's the maximum. That's the maximum that you can have up at one time. So, and each one counts as a different one. So, like if you have a t-shirt, sweatshirt, so on, those are different ones. So, yeah, with 10, you can have 10 at one time. 25, you can have 25 total products up, and then it just keeps increasing.
Yeah, it's like certain things I didn't understand. Like when I was in the 10 tier, say I would have 8 designs up, and then it would say I have. Or say if I had 9 designs up, it would say I can upload 3 designs, but I can't upload 3 designs because only, you know, so it doesn't like change to say you can only upload 1 because you only have 1 slot. Like, so what I thought I could do, I thought I could just upload ones and just kind of have them sitting there, which I don't know if I can do that until those slots open up, or switch things out. I'm still
you can put them in draft if you want to.
Okay, yeah, I think that's
if you've got them sitting in draft, then you can switch them over to submit them after that.
So
yeah, so then once you sell the 10, you move up 25. Once you sell 25, you move up to 100. But in addition to selling that many, you also have to have 80% of your slots filled.
Right.
So that's why, like, currently I could be tiered up 2 more times, but I'm not, because I don't have 80% of my slots filled. Because once you get higher, it's harder to put stuff in there. So
uploading 1,000 designs a day, it's like, wow, okay, I got to figure that out. But I know at least in the beginning, like once I get into the hundreds, you know, even with the designs I have now, I mean, I could just go in with the different products and all that stuff, and the different markets in the UK and in, you know, in Germany and stuff too. So. I assume that's what you do, is like everything, you know, like put it on everything that'll fit, you know, maybe it won't fit on a pop socket, but
cool. Yep, sure enough. But yeah, KDP, number one, like I said, yeah, no tiers, and no approval process. So yeah, the tier thing is great with that, because you can just jump in and go, you know, strong with it right out of the gate, and you don't have to wait. The only thing with that, I think probably Scott will agree with this, uploading to KDP is a little bit more work than uploading to merch, just because of the margins and the cover and making sure everything's within the guidelines. So it's kind of trial and error, and that's why I did the one video about it, just because I've been through that back and forth, submitting something like 8 or 10 times before it got approved. So I made sure, like, I wrote everything down. So from here on out, I don't care. I'm doing the same size books every time, 8 by 10 inches. I'm using this margin every time. Like, it's all set. I'm not changing it, because it's not worth going back and forth.
Yeah.
I hate times.
I followed your thing to a T, and like I said, the only thing I got bumped back, and it's not always, like I said, I made sure everything was in their guidelines, and it's still like a couple of them still threw me off on the on the spine, because I don't think they're really expecting to put any type on the spine, but I kind of wanted that. But that was very helpful, and I mean it pretty much was exactly like you said to do it. I did it, and it wasn't a problem. But like now I want to do another version of those comic book things that are more digest size for like a manga style. And so I got to figure, because you don't have a video on that. So I got to figure out how to those margins on there. Is it the same amount of space? Like just depending on the size, the margin, do you know, or?
No, not really. Yeah, you're gonna have to change everything.
I'm sure there's got to be something out there, right?
Yeah, I know. Somebody asked that question. I was like, I'm sure there's some mathematical way that you can do it, and you can figure it out with percentages and stuff. But like I said, I'm just gonna stick with my 8x10s and be good with it. So.
And then with the coloring books, do you have to choose a particular paper stock, or do they have like this is a coloring book section?
Unfortunately, no. You get one paper stock. That's it. You can choose the color. They've got basically white and then off-white, and that's it. And I know a lot of people complain about that because the paper is not really meant for coloring books. Right. So you'll get some people that complain, and that's why I talked about my video is all my coloring books, just do them single-sided pages. Because they're going to bleed through. If you do double-sided, it's going to show through the other side. At least if you have single-sided, it's not going to be as bad. Yeah,
on mine, and it depends on what you're doing, but on my comic book workbooks and everything, I did reverse pages. So so you're not like, because there's different templates, but you're not, if you waste one, if you use marker, you're not wasting one of the other templates. You're just kind of wasting the same one. I don't know if people see it that way, but I did kind of write that in the description that it was a plus because of that. But yeah. And you get, I mean, the thing is, like, even with merch, like if the quality of the t-shirt the people can leave negative reviews on that, or the paper when that has nothing to do with you. I mean, you don't have a choice. So.
Yeah. Yep. I'm just looking through the chat too. Salazar says, does KDP crossover with the merch? Do book sales count towards the shirt tiers? No, merch and KDP, two totally separate things.
You can. I mean, depending on what it is, I know people will take their merch designs over to KDP if they're doing like a low content and put that on the cover. Whether that works or not, it sounds like BJ says it doesn't always work with some of this low content stuff. But yeah, I mean, we are at the hour and a half, and I know it's super late where you're at. So I don't know if there's anything else that you wanted to say that you wanted to mention that we didn't get a chance to, other than, like I said, we'll go around and we'll let everyone give out their URLs and all that kind of stuff. But any other questions from Corey real quick, or anything else that you wanted to add, BJ? Because honestly, I could keep talking to you, and maybe we'll have to have you back on, or I don't know what you do in the middle of the day, but I was even thinking of just doing some kind of a live stream thing where it's not broadcast. So it's just almost like get some people on, and you don't have to worry about carrying on a conversation or filling time. You can just like, oh, I'm doing this or whatever. So I don't know if that's something.
We do that.
But Corey, anything else?
No, that was fascinating. Right. I'm good.
BJ, anything you wanted to mention other than, like I said, we'll go back around. We'll have you tell people where they can find you or anything.
Not really. Just encourage everybody to try. If you guys want to try getting into passive income, try Merch by Amazon or KDP. I've talked about it throughout this whole interview, but just really kind of reiterating the main thing to think about is the niche and the audience comes first, and the artwork is going to just kind of bolster that and come second. Awesome artwork and a good niche is going to sell. So I just want to encourage everybody to try it. But like I said, just focus on researching and doing the keywords first, because with awesome artwork and crappy niche or keywords, you're not going to do well on Amazon. So I don't want to give people false hope thinking I'm a killer artist, So definitely do that first, and then the success will come with the combination of those two.
That's kind of what the show is all about, because we're trying to talk about the business side of art as well, because it's basically like what you said. I mean, an awesome marketer who is a mediocre artist is going to do better than an amazing artist. I mean, you see amazing artists all the time that just can't make a living doing this. So it kind of sucks, but I think a lot of honestly, if you start looking into it, I think you'll find a passion for it. I mean, I certainly have. I mean, I enjoy it. So hopefully that means I'll be able to do, you know, if I could do half what BJ's doing, I'll be pretty happy. So anyway, so thanks for coming on, BJ. So
Yeah,
Corey, anything you want to promote or anything you want to say before we go?
No, you can check my stuff out at CoreyKerr.com, and then the link tree is kind of everywhere where I am. But I'm still doing that. Yeah, I think I guess the thing I want to promote is my new shows, I guess. Next week will be the third episode of the Indymation conversation, where Jim Lujan and I are going to go through our animating process, and our goal is to show people that if you think you can't animate, you're probably wrong. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And we kind of meet different ends of the spectrum, where he calls it ghettomation, and he's using super old software and stuff, and I'm doing other stuff. And then a week from tomorrow, I'm gonna launch the first episode of Illo Talk Student Edition, where I'm gonna try to hit all the questions, obviously not in one episode, but all the questions that you have as you are approaching graduation in college and looking to enter into the marketplace, or you're out there floundering a little bit. You know, so if you are in that space where you're trying to get into this, and I'm not, demographics, age doesn't matter as much as if you're trying to get into making a living in visual communication. That's kind of what that show is going to be. So all of that is to say, follow me on social media, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and I'll kind of announce those things as they go. But all of that's on my website, so you can see that stuff if you just click on videos. And so I've got them all gridded out there.
Awesome, and thank you for filling in for Josh on such a short notice. I appreciate it, Corey.
Yeah, anytime.
So BJ, where can everyone find you? Anything you want to point people to, or anything you want to promote?
So online, my website, BeeJayDeL.com. You can reach me on Instagram or Twitter at BeeJayDeL. Then, of course, on YouTube, Let's Draw with BeeJayDeL. If you guys haven't yet, hop on over, subscribe. Try to do about 3 videos a week. So always pumping out new content. I want to have you guys subscribe to that. And then also that Keep Creating group over on Facebook, too. It's kind of small right now, like 3,500 people, but honestly, like the most supportive bunch of artists you will ever find. I hate social media, like the evil, bad, just hateful comments that people do. And this group is awesome. So I link that in all of my video descriptions too. So hop on over and join that. It's fun.
Yeah. And I find that too, even on YouTube, which people say don't read the comments, but I respond to all my comments. And,
me too. Yep.
Yeah. And you got a bigger audience, so that's cool that you're still doing that, and hopefully I will too once I get to where you're at. But yeah, I mean, there's just, yeah, I think you get back what you put out there. So if you're putting out a lot of negativity, you're going to get a lot of that back. So
yep.
So yeah, and definitely check out BJ's stuff, because I mean the artwork's great, the videos are awesome, and like I said, you've got, I mean, with whatever size community you have there on Facebook, I mean, you're getting people submitting artwork every week, which is awesome, because I don't, I can't really see, if I try to do something like that, I don't think that would work. I don't think I'd get as much response. So it's pretty awesome. Okay. Yeah. So, thanks, BJ. So as far as me, you're on my channel, so I guess you know where to find me on YouTube. If you dive a little deeper into the channel, or maybe you don't, because I mean, I think BJ sent a few people over. So if you guys happen to be into making comics, I got a series going on right now on my YouTube channel. It's Making Comics 101, and it basically takes you step by step through the comic book making process. We're just kind of getting started. We've got 4 main episodes, and then I also do a bonus exercise and then a quick tip. So it's basically Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and we've talked about, you know, how to get started. We've talked about ideas. We've talked about world building, and we've talked about plotting. And next week, I forget what's next week, but anyway. So, but this series is going to take you all through every single step from coming up with the idea for a comic all the way to publishing it. So if you're into that, definitely check that out. And like I said, you know, as Corey's got the little prison tiers, if you're late, no, I didn't actually kill anyone. I just got out of my first tier. And if I get into tier 25, I get another one. So
you're not
so
going to do
it's a fun way.
24 more tiers on your face. Just the
No. I think that the first two are the hard ones, so that's what I'm worried about. So so it's just a fun way to get people, to encourage people to hopefully buy some shirts. So I don't know if you want to throw that up there, that link. I think it's I've got a link up there. Some of my shirts, not all of them. Like I said, I've got some St. Patrick's Day stuff. So if that sounds like something, if you're going to go out and partying, they're kind of party style shirts. So let me know and I'll give you a link to where you can find some of those as well. And other than that, just this show is the Artcasters. We do this every week. It switches back and forth between my channel and my normal co-host, Joshua Kimball. And so it gets a little confusing because it's on two different channels, and it's usually on Thursdays around 9 p.m. Pacific time, but that can change too if there's a holiday or something. So the best way to know exactly when we're going to go live is to just join our mailing list, and we don't spam you or anything like that. There's a link in the description, and usually about 30 minutes before we go live, we send out a link to let you know where you can find that, because YouTube isn't always reliable letting people know when we go live. So definitely check that out. Once again, thank you to everyone in the chat. And thanks for BJ. This is really helpful for me. I really appreciate you taking the time and staying up late.
Thanks. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So thanks, BJ. And yeah, so that's going to do it for another episode. We will see you guys next week. Later.